Hi, welcome back to Ducks Can't Draw. About a week ago, I was in Nashville and we went to this music festival, and it was just so lovely, so I had to paint it. Recently, I've been really into painting joyful scenes, which if you've seen my previous paintings, you know has not always been the case. We were sitting listening to Work Until I Die by S.G. Goodman, and I just looked up and I saw all these beautiful bats and this one tree hanging over, and I was like, dang, I'm gonna paint this. S.G. Goodman is from Kentucky, and we're giant UNC fans, but once you look past that, she's a really great artist. While we were sitting there, she also played Supertramp and The Way I Talk, and I really enjoyed both of those too. For this painting, I used acrylic paints by Artist Loft, which I don't usually use, but I really enjoyed. I appreciated that they're thicker than the usual paints that I use. My normal paints are the 99-cent bottles from Michaels. These were significantly more opaque and blended easier, which I really appreciated. If you haven't noticed, I'm using a lot more diversity in the colors than I usually do. And I learned this from an antique painting book that we picked up while we were in Nashville. Both of these books are about oil painting, but in my opinion, color theory is color theory is color theory. But I wouldn't really know. This new diversity in color, I feel helps add real depth to the painting that isn't usually in my art. I do wish I had taken more time to render this tree a little bit better, but in my defense, the canvas is kind of small. I've learned that I don't like to sketch on my canvas with pencil because then I kind of subconsciously stay inside the lines, and that leaves weird white gaps between each of my colors. Instead, I'm sketching in paint, which would work perfectly fine if I just waited between my sketch and my final overlay. I am anything but patient, so instead of just waiting for them to dry, I went ahead and put blue right over. Obviously, this meant that the yellowy hands and the blue sky mixed together, and I ended up with green sky in some places. Neither of these hands are particularly beautiful. The left one, the fingers never straighten out, and the right one, the thumb is too far stretched. Not to mention, they look like they touch shoulder to shoulder, and there's no actual person in between those two hands. Clearly, my foreshortening skills need work. But ignoring that, I think it looks great. I don't know if you caught that, but when I first started shading those hands, I used a seriously desaturated color instead of the color I wanted. So I had to go back and go over it with that more browny brown that you see. I really like to use colors that are overdone and too saturated to be realistic. That tree that I saw was not that green, but
I need the green.
And obviously my hands are not yellow, as you can see them right there. Yellow is so much prettier than that weird peachy color. Now I'm painting in the music, which is a sentence that doesn't make any sense, yet you know exactly what I mean. I was going to use black because most sheet music that I've seen is printed in black ink, but black is boring. So we went with blue that would fade into a purple and a little bit of red. I ended up getting a little too funky with it. I mean, really, there's no such thing as too funky, but you get what I mean. I started to paint in notes, and I wanted to use rests because originally I had rests blending into a bat shape because I thought the little Z on top of the C that makes up the rest symbol looks kind of like a bat. That did not end up working out, but I still think it looks pretty good. Another example of my inability to use colors that make sense are those beautiful purple bats. I think they look actually amazing. They remind me of the bats that are in the old Batman cartoons. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the painting. Have a good day.